So we're,
Okay, time's 12:26. We're back on the record.
so we're back discussing V7. So from whom did you get this employer ID number for Nero Live Adventure Games LLC?
The attorneys in Pennsylvania.
So in line 30, that you took a $51,643 deduction. Is that correct? Is that, so should that be a minus number? It's line 30.
You're saying that you think that...
No, I'm not saying anything about what I think. I asked you if line 30 says $51,643 and if that's an accurate number.
I thought that you had mentioned if it was a negative, it should be a negative number in your last statement.
Okay. Is it a negative number?
Well, no, that's a positive number. It's just if there's no negative minus sign at the end of it and it's not in parentheses, so that would be a positive $51,643
Okay.
in that line. 30.
So then, in line 31, it shows that it's a negative number. How did you get the negative number?
Well, if you subtract line 30 from line 29 on the same form you're looking at, you get minus 1,500.
So line 30 is a negative number.
Doesn't look like it, but
So,
it
but
might
you
be.
just subtracted
it
it.
might be, according to the program.
Okay. So it shows that the program subtracted 51,643 on line 30. Is that correct?
The program took line 30, which was 51,643, and it subtracted that line from line 29. So if you take 51,000 and you subtract it from 50,000, you're bound to get a minus number.
Correct.
Okay.
And so we're saying that that 51,000 is a negative number and it is a correct number.
No, I'm saying 51. I don't know where you're getting a negative number out of 51,000 when it doesn't have a negative sign or a parentheses.
So did the
I'm unsure what you're
system,
doing here.
did the system subtract the 51,643 from the 103,982?
Well, if you read line item number 31, it says the words net profit or loss, subtract line 30 from line 29.
So it's a negative number.
No, no.
Line 30.
Line 30 is not a negative number.
Line 31 is the negative number.
Line 30 is not a negative number.
Okay. So you took a $51,643 deduction for 300 square feet of your home.
That's what it appears to say there in that line item.
Okay.
I'm
So
not sure if that's accurate, but that's what it appears to say.
did you file this tax return with the federal government?
Yes.
And that's the number that you submitted to the federal government?
Yes.
Okay. So you got a employer ID number for Nero Live Adventure Games LLC. Why did you do that?
Oh, it was given to me by the attorneys. You probably so I used it.
What
And then I was
attorneys-
operating as Nero Live Adventure Games, so when I did my tax returns, I probably had to use it to, follow the laws of IRS, I guess.
So you were operating Nero Live Adventures Games LLC as an entity separate from yourself?
Well, yeah, that I'm me, and then there's Nero Live Adventure Games LLC. But I think that's two different entities.
So did you maintain separate accountings in 2017 for Nero Live Adventure Games LLC and yourself?
I don't think so.
So you only had one set of tax records, and that was for yourself?
Well, yes, and if you're running an LLC, you fill out the Schedule C on the tax returns. And you put your name, and then you put the company name. And I guess that's how it works. That's what I did according to the software. It says, what's your business name? I said, this one. And then it puts it on the form here, and it submits it, and you hope it's all right.
We'll go to Exhibit V8. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, I do. Appears to be my 2016 individual tax return plus profit and loss statement.
So I'm reading the numbers, the base numbers into the record. It's PT 040074 to the PT 040077. Mr. Valenti, did you operate a farm in 2016?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. In addition to running a farm, what kind of farm did you run?
Well, I have to go back and look. Let me just see what I was selling in the year 2016. It was either tomatoes, watermelon, melons. Let me see if I have anything written down here for that. I don't recall exactly what I was growing at the time. Yeah, it was either tomatoes. Could have been tomatoes, watermelons, peppers. No, I didn't do a lot of sales, but I was just trying it out. I did okay, kind of. Didn't do so good the second year,
And
I
Mr.
think, or maybe the third year.
Okay. And Mr. Valenti, you filed this 2016 tax return as it is here with the IRS?
Yes.
Okay. So if we could go to line 12, is the number of negative 969 correct?
Negative 4,969
Yep.
on line 12.
Yes.
I would imagine that is correct. Yes.
Okay.
It's on the piece of paper here.
Okay, can we go to your scheduled profit and loss from business? Could we go to line 30, please? Is the number of $85,104 accurate?
It appears to be the number that is on the sheet of paper.
Did you put that number in?
Oh, I don't think so, no.
Who would have put this number in?
The computer program.
Where did the computer program get the number from?
From a bunch of other numbers that I placed into the computer program
So you put the numbers into the computer.
that eventually formulated this number. I would say that that is an accurate statement.
And so what you're telling us on line, or what you reported to the IRS on line 30, is that you took an $85,104 home expense.
If that's what that line item means, then the answer would be yes.
What do you think it means?
I'm unsure. I would have to go and ask a certified public accountant.
Is this tax return being audited by the IRS?
Yes.
Why is it being audited?
They did not give me a reason. They just said it's being audited.
When did the audit start?
A couple of years ago.
How many years ago?
I don't recall.
But you knew it was being audited in 2016.
No.
You didn't know that your 2016 tax return is being audited?
No, you just asked me a question that said I knew it was being audited in 2016, and that answer is no.
Okay.
It was not being audited in 2016.
When was
It's
it
my
being
2016 tax return.
When did the audit start?
I don't know, a few years ago sometime. I don't recall the name, the date.
What year was it audited? Did the audit start?
17 or 18?
And which years were being audited again, please?
I believe 15, 16, and 17 all got audited. And all are in the process of being redone by myself through my my accountants, excuse me.
And I note that this this profit and loss statement was filed on behalf of Near Live Adventure Games LLC. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And in that 2016 year, were you maintaining a separate set of records, business records, from your own personal records?
Yes.
Where were they being recorded, or where were these documents being kept?
On my computer and in my home.
And have you produced all those documents?
Yes.
We will go to number 9. Do I have to have that? Number 9, V9. V9, Valenti 9 is PT040088. And that goes to PT040092. Mr. Valenti, do you not have a copy of your 1040 that you filed with the federal government for the year 2016?
No.
I'm looking at Schedule C of the exhibit number 9. Page 1 of 2 is shown at the bottom. Did you prepare this?
You're looking at page 1 of 2 of the document number 9, which you just handed out. This one.
Yes. So, page PT040091. Schedule C.
I don't think there is a 9-1. It goes from 9.0 to 9.2. Do you have a 9? Or did you pull it out?
Well,
It's
Was
missing
there-
9-1?
Mine is.
Yeah, mine's missing the same as you are. That's the,
Yeah, it goes from 9.0 to 9.2. I don't know if there was,
1, 2. Well, I'll go make a quick copy.
You're wired.
Oh, sure, we'll go through it. 2 seconds.
Okay. Times 12:42, we're off the record. Okay, times 12:44, we're back on the record.
Okay, so I just supplemented the document V9 with page number PT040091. I will give this page, when I'm done with it, to our stenographer. So, Mr. Valenti, are you looking at page PT040091 now?
yes,
Okay, that was also filed on behalf of Nero Live Adventure Games, LLC. Is that correct?
yes,
Did you complete this?
yes.
Okay. Looking at the last line on this document, it shows minus 2653. Is that correct?
Yes.
On line 1A, it shows you had gross receipts or sales of 4,600. Is that correct?
Yes.
On exhibit V8, line 1, you reported 132,250. Why is there a difference between what you reported to the federal government and what you reported to the state of Pennsylvania?
Yes, that's probably because I thought I only generated $4,600 in the state of Pennsylvania for the Pennsylvania company that was operating. And I probably had to redo my 2016. So somewhere along the line, the numbers got fixed or changed. Pennsylvania accepted my tax return without any issues and didn't do a new one when IRS nailed me. So I'm kind of unsure. But I would think it would be because I only earned $4,600 from the companies that were operating in Pennsylvania. 1 or 2 or 3 Nero chapters that I had operating at the time.
So in 2016, were there other states in which you were operating as Nero or Nero Live Adventure Games LLC?
Well, I mean, technically I was operating my business across the world as Nero Live Adventure Games LLC.
Okay, so
I had to file a tax return, though, in Pennsylvania, so I filled out the paperwork as best as I could and then filed it.
So did you file state tax returns in any other state?
Yeah, in 2016, I believe I did. And
Where?
I'd have to go back and look. Let's see, in 2016, my Pennsylvania and North Carolina.
So you made, is it true that you made, out of 132,250, you made only 4,600 in Pennsylvania?
Yeah, I believe that is true, yes.
And the rest of the money would have been made in North Carolina?
Well, around from all the other chapters around the country, from all of my income. And in 2016, yeah. Mhm.
So why did you feel, if you were operating chapters around the country, why did you then feel the need only to file a tax return in Pennsylvania?
Well, I'd have to think hard on that, to be honest with you.
Please, think hard.
I had an LLC in Pennsylvania, and I had to file tax returns for the LLC in Pennsylvania. I was also in the process of trying to rekindle or resuscitate or undissolve the New York company. So I probably just did the best I could to fill out the forms as correctly as I possibly could to depict the amount of money that I was making around. And I might have even tried to offset it if I had to think clearly. I might have even offset my 132 by the 4,000, but I might not have. I'd have to go back and think long, hard on it. It's from 2016, and it's 2022 right now, so that's 8 years. Yeah, so yeah.
So in 2016, did you file then a tax return for the state of North Carolina?
Yes.
Where would we see that document?
Oh, I don't know, in the 40,000 documents I gave you?
No,
That's not there?
it's not there.
All
And
right.
by the way, Mr.
Maybe I'll have
Valenti, I note that for the record, you refer to 40,000 documents you produced. 23,142 were an accounting, 23,000 documents, over 23,000 documents were an accounting of goblin points.
Terrific. Terrific.
So that narrows the substantive responses
17,000?
to roughly.
I'll use whatever number you would like me to use.
No,
I'm
so
okay with that.
17,000 documents. Of the 17,000 documents that you produce that are relevant to the question of your finances, there is no North Carolina tax return ever.
Okay.
Did you file one?
Of course I did. Well,
Okay,
the reason that you don't have a copy, if they're not included in there, was odds are there was no copy on my computer or in the personal paperwork that was in my house. That's why you don't have a copy. I mean, that's pretty easy to understand. Am I wrong? Or am I missing something?
I'm missing something. You're
I'm
right.
supposed
I'm
to-
missing
I was
something.
supposed to go out to the IRS and ask them for a copy of my 2016 tax returns to give to you. Is that what I was supposed to do?
No, Mr. Valenti, you
I was
were
supposed to give you whatever documents I had on my computer or in the paperwork at my house at the time when you asked for the documents. And that's what I did.
No, not at
I
the
did.
time, and not at your house. That was never a restriction that I put on you. Never.
Oh, well,
So you were
I gave you
supposed to-
everything that was readily available, sir.
Well,
I'm
that's
unsure
not-
what you're
that's-
trying to get at.
You're not supposed to produce anything that's readily available. You're supposed to produce everything. Did you have, and do you have, a
that's-
copy of your North Carolina tax return for the year 2016?
Well, no, if I didn't produce it to you, then I didn't have a copy to produce, right?
Fine.
And then my house just burned down, so it would have been burned with my house.
And it wasn't among the papers that you
Well, I mean,
saved from the fire, or your computer that you
No,
saved from the
I
fire?
wouldn't sign IRS tax returns. I would
It was
say
not
other more
IRS.
important.
It's not IRS. It's state tax
Oh,
returns.
I'm sorry. Unfortunately, I'm just a layman, so they're all the same to me. So state tax returns, I wouldn't have bothered saving any of those papers whatsoever. In the case of a burning fire, I would have grabbed other more important things. I don't need paperwork from 2016 that I have with the State Department of North Carolina. I just don't. No one does. It's 8 years ago when we're only required to keep 7 years of our tax returns. So therefore, I would not have a 2016 tax return to give you.
How does a layman know how long you need to keep tax returns
It's a
for?
rumor that goes around.
It's a rumor.
Yeah, I might be wrong, in fact. That would be awesome.
Okay. Do you have any other, did you file tax returns in any other states?
In 2016,
Anytime?
anytime?
Anytime.
Well, yes,
Where?
in the states I lived in.
Which states were those?
I'd have to go back and think about it long and
Please,
hard.
take your time.
Oh, terrific, I will.
No, right now. Take your time to think about where you lived.
Well, what year?
Tell me. Pick a year.
Oh, well, I don't recall my tax returns being submitted to any years other than the last few. So I lived in North Carolina, 2015 and 16. 15 would have been Georgia, since I lived there. North Carolina, since I lived there. New York State, since I had a business operating and I lived there.
Did you file tax returns in North Carolina for the years 21, 20, and 19?
Not yet.
Did you have draft documents?
Not if we didn't give them to you.
Do you understand that you have a duty to file tax returns
Yes.
in every state?
Yes. I'm actively talking to North Carolina regarding my duty.
In what context are you talking to North Carolina?
They
about
told
your
me I
duty?
had to pay taxes on the money I earned, and I said, okay.
When did you have this conversation?
They send me letters. I called them on the phone in the last year or 2 or 3. I don't remember.
We'll move on to document number V10. Do you recognize this document, Mr. Valenti?
Yes, it appears to be my 2015 U.S. individual tax return with a profit and loss statement from my business.
Was this submitted to the IRS?
Yes, it was.
And did you sign it?
Yes, I did.
But you don't have a copy of the signature page with your signature on it?
No, no one has the copy of the signature page with their signature on it. When you do electronic copying, it lets electronic. And no one prints two copies and signs both and then keeps one in their records.
We'll enter into the record Exhibit V19.
This is just a copy of this, right?
You mean V11?
No, did we put in V19? I thought we put in
Yeah, we
V.
went up to 21.
Yeah, right, so, but I'm jumping ahead really quickly here.
Yeah, no, that's fine, I just didn't want to mark another one if you.
No, this is the
Okay,
same,
I just
same
handed it to
V19.
you, I didn't see
V19.
that.
Right. So, and do you already have a copy of
I
it?
do,
Right,
yes.
okay. Mr. Valenti, do you recognize this document?
I suppose it is my 2006 tax return?
Okay, I'm reading the Bates numbers into the record, PT 038903. Mr. Valenti, is that on the front page of this document, 2006? Is this your signature?
Yes.
Why did you keep a copy of this signature and not the one from 2015?
I would have to go back and look, but I think I found this document among all the other documents, and I think I was asked to sign it, and so I signed it.
When did you sign it?
Probably 2017 or 2018 or something, I'm not sure. Other than that, I probably had this document lying somewhere around in either, I can't imagine on my computer, but maybe on my computer from when I scanned it in. I can't imagine it would be a hard copy, but it could have been a hard copy found on some piece of paper somewhere.
So did you sign then your 2015 tax return?
Sorry, went to the 2015 tax returns.
Did you sign it?
If I was required to sign the document in order to submit it to the IRS, it was signed when I submitted it to the IRS.
But you don't have a copy of that?
And no, because if you sign things, if you do things electronically, you don't have to sign them.
And you filed your tax returns electronically?
I believe 2015 was signed electronically. It might, oh yes, it was actually, I believe. I could be wrong, but 2006, I don't know if this one was actually signed electronically. It looks like it wasn't, and it had to be mailed into the tax return place.
Is that how you typically submitted your tax returns?
It looks like it's dated in 2011, so that means I was in Dubuque, Iowa when the IRS contacted me to do something with my 2006 tax return. Either resubmit it or submit it originally. I do not know what the answer would be there.
Okay, going back to Exhibit V10. On line 12, it shows a negative 17,502. Is that number accurate?
I would imagine it would be. It's on my tax returns.
And you prepare these tax returns, right?
Yes.
Okay. Going to the profit and loss Schedule C. In 2015, were you living in a smaller house than you were in 2016?
2015. Yeah, probably. Maybe. Why?
So did you move between 2015 to 2016?
Yes, I did.
Where did you move from to?
I moved from, depends on how you look at things, I suppose. I moved from Barnesville, Georgia to Mount Gilead, North Carolina, and I moved from Concord, North Carolina to Mount Gilead, North Carolina. I may have even moved some stuff from New York to Mount Gilead, North Carolina.
Where were you living at the beginning of 2015?
Oh, well, it could have been Baltimore, Maryland. It could have been Durham, North Carolina. Odds are it was Barnesville, Georgia, or Concord, North Carolina. The majority of where I spent my time.
So on line 30 of 2015 profit and loss statement, you took a $26,976 deduction. What property were you referring to when you took the $26,976 deduction?
Well, I don't know. See, 2015, I owned 2 pieces of property at that time, one in Georgia and one in North Carolina. So if that pertains to that, then I would say it was probably those 2, if not the, well, no, yeah, the North Carolina was rented, the Concord was rented, so I don't think that would be included.
So what is your property, which property does this $26,976 refer to?
Well, I don't know. I mean, if you're asking me definitively, I do not know what the answer is because this is from the year 2015 and we're in the year 2022. But I would say it reflects my house in Barnesville and my house in Mount Gilead, or the property in Barnesville and the property in Mount Gilead.
Were you using both for the business of Nero Live Adventure Games LLC?
Yes.
Why is it that you, at the deduction in 2015 of $26,976, but in the year 2016 you took a $85,104 deduction for the business use of your home? What changed between 2015 and 2016 that would justify?
I don't know the answer to that. I just fill out a bunch of numbers on a tax return form, and then the program plugs it all in. And
So
then
is the
numbers come out, and then I submit that to the IRS and to the state departments, and that's how it gets done. I'm not
So
an
can you
accountant.
explain why, other than the computer plugged in the numbers, why you went from a $26,000 deduction to an $85,000 deduction?
Well, I would imagine that I had a higher amount of deductions.
No, this is for the business use of your home. And that's what I asked if you moved, and you said no.
Well,
So
I did
in
not
one
say,
year you're
I did
taking
not
it-
say no to the question of whether or not I moved in the year 2015. You're incorrect.
So where were you living in
You
2015?
were incorrect. Your statement was incorrect.
Where were you living in 2015?
I was living in 4 different places. I think
Which
Durham,
one?
North Carolina, Baltimore, Maryland, Barnesville, Georgia, or Concord. Actually, not Concord. I moved out of Concord also. Actually, yeah, Concord. Concord, Barnesville, Mount Gilead, Durham, North Carolina, and Baltimore, Maryland.
So
5 places.
which number does this which of your abodes, your homes, because this is a deduction for business use of your home, which home that you are living in, not a rental property, not a barn, a home, which
Yeah.
home does this number refer to?
Oh, I answered that question already for you.
Say, remind me again because I forgot.
Oh, you did.
Yeah?
I believe it would refer to the home in Mount Gilead and the home in Barnesville, Georgia.
How much time did you spend in Georgia?
Months and months and hours.
How many months?
Many months.
How many is many?
I don't
Estimate?
know. 5 months.
5 months. And the rest of the time was in your home in North Carolina?
Well, wait, you're saying the rest of it? Oh, well, no. I mean, it's all spread out between the 5 locations that I just told you I lived in the year 2015, right?
And I'm asking you, which of those 5 locations does this $26,000?
And I answered your question already.
And I'm asking you, you said two places, Georgia and North Carolina.
No, you
and
got
you
your
said
answer.
5 months in Georgia, if I'm not correct. Please tell me. And then that would mean the rest
I'm
of the
coming up with
time.
numbers for you to help you out.
Thank you.
You're
So
welcome.
how many more months did you attribute to living in North Carolina to this $26,000 number?
Well, I would think if it was 5 months in Georgia, then it would be like 7 months in Mount Gilead, since there's 12 months in a year.
But that's not correct, Mr. Valenti, because you told me you lived in 5 different places.
Well, you're not even answering your own questions.
You said
You're getting yourself confused.
You
my friend.
said
should
you
slow
lived
down a
in
little
5 places in 2015.
bit. Yes, and then you asked me which of my houses are applicable to this field, and I told you 2 places. And then you told me I was wrong, which is like the weirdest shit you ever heard in your life.
Well, no, it's not, Mr. Valenti,
Yes, it
because
is.
you said you lived in 5 different places, and then you said you lived in one place 5 months and the other place 7 months, so that doesn't relieve any time to live in any of the other 3 places that you mentioned.
You're confusing me with your words, I think I answered your question.
Okay.
You asked me what numbers pertained to this field here in the thing. And it pertains to houses that you own, which I owned 2 houses, one in Mount Gilead and one in Barnesville, Georgia. So if
Okay.
I had to attribute a period of time, I'd attribute 5 and 7 for the full-time living accommodations at the houses where I had things stored for the use of my home as my office and my business.
So, and then the number, you also took a capital gain or loss of $3,000. What was that capital gain or loss for?
Oh, I don't know, it's 2015. I would have to... yeah, I don't know. I would have to look deeper. Let me see if there's any line items here that says it. Capital gain, attach Schedule D if required. I don't see a Schedule D here, so I wouldn't be able to answer your question since this is from the year 2015 and it's 2022 right now.
We'll move to Exhibit 11. This is document numbers, Bates numbers PT 039222 to PT 039224. Do you recognize this document, Mr. Valenti?
Yes, it appears to be my 2014 tax return.
Did you prepare this document?
Profit and loss from business. Yeah, I would say I probably created this document. Yes.
Mr. Valenti, were you working that year?
I don't know. Let me figure this out. I think I was.
What, could you read the number on line 7?
It's blank.
Is that correct, that it should be blank?
Yes, it's my tax return from the year 2014.
But Mr. Valenti, you said you were working that year.
Yes.
Did you have an income that year?
Well, yes, I had a $52,000 income. Let me see. $51,800, I believe, was the gross receipts or sales from my business that I worked at.
Did you pay yourself a wage?
Oh. It doesn't appear that I did.
Did you have any other sources of income that year?
I don't know. I would have to go back and think about it. It's 2014.
No, it's not.
It's not? It's not 2000?
This year is 2022.
This is, I apologize. I would have to go back and look because this is from the year 2014 and we're currently in the year 2022 and it's not that easy to remember what I was doing 7 or 8 years ago.
You don't remember where you were working in 2014?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so then we'll look at the Schedule C, and this shows that it was filed on behalf of Nero Live Adventures. Nero Live Adventure Games LLC. Is that correct?
That is what it says on the paper.
Okay, and we'll go down again to the number that you put on line 30. 17,934, is that correct?
That is the number that is on the piece of paper, yes.
So in that year, you took a business loss of $3,978, is that correct?
That's what it says on this piece of paper. Yes.
Is there anything wrong with this piece of paper?
I don't believe so.
The numbers are truthful?
Yes.
Moving on to V12. Do you recognize this document? Oh, and this document is PT03, I think it's 9196 to PT03918198. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
From 2013.
Did you prepare this document?
Yes, I did.
Are the numbers accurate?
I believe they are.
Is there anything that's incorrect?
I don't believe so.
Okay. If we turn to the third page, which is Schedule C, you in this year, apparently you did you in 2013 use your home for the business?
Yes.
Did. How much is shown on line 30?
It says $300.
So do you have any explanation for why in 2013 you only took $300 in a home office deduction, but in 2014 you took a $17,934 deduction?
No idea.
No idea.
No, it's from 2013, 9 years ago.
If I look at line 7, what number is there?
29,254.
Line 7 of 20 of the 1040.
That number is blank.
Were you unemployed?
I don't believe so, no.
So, what number should appear there? Did you make a wage?
Well, it says here under number 7, wages, salaries, and tips. And since there's a number that's blank there, I would think I didn't make a wage, or a
So-
salary, or a tip,
So, did you work for somebody?
other than myself,
Yes.
other than the Nero licensees,
Yes.
other than the members of Nero.
Yes.
Maybe. I don't remember. I don't recall. I mean, it's from the year 2013. Odds are I worked for somebody, and I might have even used my business as the business medium to work under, which means that the income might have came into my business and been on this form where it shows the income. But I might be wrong. I might not have worked in 2013.
So,
might
Mr.
have
Valenti,
just
if you
floated
didn't
on
work
the-
in 2013 and you didn't work in 2014, what did you live on?
I don't know, maybe the $180,000 I made in 2012 or the $160,000 I made in 2011.
I don't know. I'm asking you. What did you live on?
That's what I lived on. And the
For 2 years?
$150,000 I made in 2009 or 2010, $150,000 in 2011.
You had no other
Something like
income that in the years 2013, 2014?
Well, I might have. I work for, I was a contractor, so I work for lots of little different small companies or big companies for 3 months and 6 months at a time. So I could have installed some IBM TS7700 virtual tape servers for Pico, Pennsylvania electric company that year. I don't remember. I could have been stationed up in Indiana or in Illinois or anywhere. I could have made some money for
When
3
you-
months or 6 months, a couple of $5, $10, $20, $15,000, you know. It would,
So did you report that on anywhere on
of
your...
course, all of my income is always reported.
Where is that reported?
I would think that if I had earned income and it's not under the wages, tips, salaries portion, that it would be under my business operation name, where I said I made $29,000 that year.
So is Nero Live Adventure Games LLC in the
But I-
business of installing software and computers?
Yeah, it does whatever I want it to do.
Did you market yourself, or did you market Nero Live Adventure Games LLC as a software installing company?
Well, I don't need to do that in order to use it as a software installing company. And that's not what I did.
I
with it.
didn't ask that
So,
question. I said, did you market Nero Live Adventures LLC as a company that provides software and computing services?
No.
When you say you were stationed somewhere, were you in the military?
No.
So
Stationed.
who stationed you?
My employer stations me all around the country, wherever they want me to go, I
Who
go.
was your employer?
What year?
2013.
I don't remember.
So you remember that an employer stationed you around the country,
Well,
but
I
you
would-
don't remember who it was?
Yes, absolutely. That's absolutely true. So I remember that I got stationed in the state of Illinois
By whom?
at some bank by some company that hired me for 6 months. I went in, I evaluated all the individuals at the company, wrote down all of their jobs, and then I had meetings with the new employees, told them what they had to do, and then I left. And I forget about it. I'm not going to remember what I did in 2015 in Illinois for 6 months for some contracting company. That's a done deal. It's over. Then I go to the next company, and if I'm going to be in Durham, Massachusetts, Durham, North Carolina, or if I'm going to be in Farmers Insurance in California, I don't remember all those things and what date and time they are. No, it's irrelevant information once it's done.
Did you work for a temp agency?
Sure.
So were the postings that you got at different places throughout the country brought to you through a temp agency?
No. It depends on what you mean by temp agency. So I worked for a temp agency in White Plains, New York in the year 1998, and that's probably how I got my start.
Which one
Or maybe
was that?
it was 1988. I think it was called Office Temps Incorporated. But most of my contract jobs come through contracting companies, not temp agencies.
Okay, what's the difference between a contracting company and a temp agency?
The word you used to describe it, I guess.
Well, please explain. What did you understand it to be? I don't
Well, I mean,
understand.
there's a difference between employee and contractor, so there would be a difference between temp and contractor. I don't
Okay.
know.
So who paid you your fee?
The company that hired me.
Directly or through the contracting company?
Well, the contracting company is the company that hires me.
So you were working for a company that placed you around different places in the country.
I worked for many different companies. Each one of those companies would place me wherever they needed me to work.
Okay, so you remember the name of the temp agency from 1998,
It's amazing, isn't it?
but you don't remember the name of the company that you had in 2013.
Yeah, there's zero relevance in my life in 2013 to absolute 100% relevance in my life in the year 1986 or 88 when I was at Office Temps Incorporated. It's where I got my start and my entire career in the IT industry.
And you don't remember who it was in 2014 either.
No, I don't remember. I mean, if I don't have it written down here, you're asking me to rack my brain as to where I worked in 2014. So maybe it was Exelon Nuclear Energy Company in Joliet, Illinois. That was 2012, I think, if I remember correctly, though. PICO, HSCS, a healthcare computing company. I don't remember all these things. I would have to go figure it out. They're asking me stuff from 10 years ago.
You say Pico?
Yeah, PICO, P-E-C-O, Pennsylvania Electric Company. And I did a lot of those small installs of the IT, of the engineer, of the servers, tape servers, 3 or 4 of them. So, but I could have not been working also. I didn't have a job. That's cool. I didn't have a job in 2013 or 14. Okay. No, it's totally, completely irrelevant. I definitely earned money working Nero every single day during those years.
So you said previously that you were running your payments through the PayPal account. There was only one PayPal account. You ran all those payments. Of the money that you ran through the PayPal accounts, how much, what percentage of that money is attributable to your work as a consultant, software consultant, contractor? I don't know what you called yourself.
Okay, so So I have two PayPal accounts right now. I think I started my second PayPal account in my personal name in the year 2018. It could have been 17. I'm unsure. So all of the Nero money goes to the Nero PayPal account and has 98%, 99%, easily that number. There have been years where I never took a dime by check that had to be deposited into a bank. There was years when I didn't have to do that. I didn't have to take a check, so I just generally transferred all the money from the PayPal account into the bank account, and then I spent the money from the bank account. That's generally what you were taught. I stopped the bank account, and now I have a PayPal account for business and a PayPal account for myself. And my money, I transfer money into PayPal, which I think is all in those documents we gave you. The amount of thousands of dollars I think that I've transferred into PayPal is listed in those reports from my other PayPal account. It used to be I would transfer it from my bank account to PayPal for business, and I'd spend the money, or I'd spend it on my own card.
Mr. Singh, we requested all financial documents. Mr. Valenti has just pointed out that he has two PayPal accounts since at least 2018. I only have records for one PayPal account, and I don't have complete full records for that PayPal account. The one that he did produce, also he just mentioned that he had a bank account that he transferred the money to. We don't have any records of any bank account whatsoever.
There aren't any records for me to give you of those bank accounts. That's why you don't have them. And I gave you the records from my personal account that applied to Nero, so I didn't know that you wanted any additional. There's a couple of several pieces of paper, documents, whatever you want to call them, that I definitely gave to you that has the two incomes that I got from Nero into my personal account when I believe the PayPal API was having challenges with my website.
Again, Mr. Singh, I'll request that we get the documents from the banks that are under Mr. Valenti's control. And I would also submit to you that the banks can, we can subpoena the records, and they should have, as a normal course of business.
Well, if he can find them,
Well, he has access to his bank account. Of course, he can find them.
That's absolutely false. He's incorrect.
Well, you can go check
making
him, and if you
false
find him, we'll
statements
give
here
them to you.
Okay.
on record. He's making false statements about me.
Well, you can check. If you have them, we'll give them to them.
Well, he's just testified that he's a personal bank account.
No,
And-
I didn't. You are wrong and incorrect in your statements. So please don't tell me what I said in my testimony.
I'm reading into evidence document V13, which is PT 0309146 to PT 03914. I think that's an 8. Do you recognize this document?
It appears to be my tax return from the year 2012, along with a profit and loss statement.
Is it your tax return from that year?
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
Did you prepare it?
Yes.
Okay. On line 12 of the 1040, it shows a number of 49,557. Is that correct?
Line item 12 of the 1040 of my 2012 tax return shows a number of 49,557.
And that number is correct?
Yes.
On line 21, you took a deduction for other income of minus 48,993. What was the deduction?
The deduction was itemized in the profit and loss from business on the 4th page, also known as PT 039149.
I'm sorry, I'm missing that. Where is it?
I'll rephrase your question.
I'm asking you where you got that number from on this tax return.
Which number?
The 48,993.
Oh, I don't remember you talking about line item number 21 until right now. Oh, hold on, let me look at that again. Oh, yes. So that appears to be line item number 21 on my 1040 of my 2012 tax return is minus 48,993.
Yes, I know.
That's a net operating loss carryover.
A net operating loss carryover. Okay, from what year?
Well, it doesn't say here on the piece of paper, so it probably was available to be used for the last previous 5 years or possibly indefinitely, depending on how the tax laws worked.
So, what was your loss in 2011?
Do you have my tax returns?
Yes.
So give me.
No?
I do not recall.
Don't recall.
You
So
asked
you're
me
saying
questions
that there
from
was a
10 years ago.
$48,993 carryover from the prior year.
No, I'm not saying that.
So what are you saying is that minus 48,993 is?
I'm saying that according to this piece of paper, which is my 2012 tax return, it has a number of minus $48,993 in line item number 21. And the wording there says other income, list type, and amount, and it says NOL. I determined that NOL stands for net operating loss, and then I, could be mistaken, thought it was a carryover from prior years, my losses. I'm probably correct in that because I very rarely, if ever or never, used the carryback option for the same net operating loss with the IRS. So I believe, as I said before, it's either an indefinite period of time or it possibly could be a 5-year prior losses can get carried over to future years. But I'm unsure because this is 2012 and the tax laws have changed tremendously since then. And I don't remember exactly what the tax laws were in the year 2012.
So, of the 49,000, well, let me back up. Sorry, line item 7 on the 1040. What's that number?
In 2012, line item 7, that says 0.
0.
It's blank.
So again, in 2012, you didn't have, or did you have income?
Yes, I had plenty of income.
Okay. What kind of income did you have?
Well, if I remember correctly, in the year 2012, I had approximately $131,175,000 in income.
And of that number that you just recited, what percentage of that is from running Nero Live Adventure games?
In the year 2012, technically all of it.
Were you working as a consultant or that contractor at that time?
I probably was, yes.
So you were running, were you earning money as a contractor at that time?
Yes.
Yes. And where did you report that income?
Right here on this line item, you see $131,000.
So you were selling your business as a consultant and a software guy?
No, I was using my business as a medium to collect the revenue that I generated while working as an IT engineer for a contracting company.
Were you using Nero Live Adventure games to advertise those services? Were you using Nero to advertise those services that you were providing?
No.
What were the $26,500 in tax deductible meals and entertainment What were those deductible meals and entertainment?
Food I ate, entertainment I enjoyed.
Is it all food you ate and all entertainment that you provided?
I'm sorry, you're using the wrong words. I'll say the answer no to your question. Maybe you'll realize how you asked it.
Did you have, is all the $26,500 attributable to meals that you ate?
Oh, I would say probably not.
What else is it attributable to?
Well, I was probably in the year 2012. I was acting as a contractor, so I was probably living somewhere else. So in 2012, that was right after my IBM stint. So I would have, maybe that was Hitachi. I was working for Hitachi, and maybe that was at Exelon Nuclear Energy Company, and that would have given me, yeah, that would be, so yeah, so I was all paid for, hotels, meals, and other miscellaneous. Actually, the only thing was paid for is probably my hotel. So yeah, it was probably my meals for traveling while I was traveling to Nero events and for my IT contracting. That didn't get reimbursed. Pretty much, yeah. I lived in hotels in the year 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 for all of my contractor jobs.
2010, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18?
Yeah. I think in 19 I stopped traveling. So I lived in hotels. I traveled around the country to whatever location I had to work at. So those were probably uncovered, non-reimbursed meals, and IRS lets you spend $35 a day or whatever. Me and Darren Sawyer, we ate pretty good. We went out to when you're on contract and you go out to eat almost every night to a hotel or a restaurant, so you eat okay. Pretty
So
good.
who were you entertaining in 2024?
So I don't actually have to entertain anyone in order to claim an entertainment expense.
So none of the expenses
However,
listed in that 26,500
You
were
can feel free to interrupt
entertainment?
me all you want.
I will.
Okay.
The entertainment, 26,500. How much of that was attributable to entertainment?
I don't recall. It's the year 2012, and right now we're in the year 2022. So you're asking me to try to figure out something from 10 years ago. However, I will tell you that it's reasonable for me to take someone out to dinner and pay for the meals while I'm talking Nero with them.
So in the end of 2012, after you take the 49,557 and you subtract out the 48,993, that left you with essentially roughly what, little over, close to $600 in taxable income for your business in 2012.
Is that what my tax return says?
I'm asking you, is that what it says?
Well, I don't know.
Did you prepare
I'm
this?
sorry, ask your question again. I'll start paying attention more to the numbers, I guess, if you want me to figure something out for you. So you're saying that if I looked at my income and then I looked at my expenses and my loss, that I would only have $600 left? That's probably wrong. I'd say it was wrong.
How is it wrong?
Well, I don't know. I earned $130,000. Yeah, so I think your calculations are wrong. I see a earnings of $131,000, total expenses of $75,000. That would leave somebody with $60,000 in.
But that's not what you have on your 1040.
It says $49,000 net profit or loss.
Oh, I'm sorry, it says what?
It says $49,000 with $557 on it for net profit and loss. So
yes,
of the
but then
70
you had a net operating loss carryover, apparently, of $48,993.
What are you trying to do with that number?
Well, then you pay taxes on how much?
What's the tax return say here?
Tell me.
Well,
I'm asking the questions. You have to respond.
well, according to this tax return, according to this tax return in the year 2012, let me just make sure I'm actually looking at that. I paid a total of $6,087 in taxes. I think your numbers were wrong.
So we're moving on to document number V14. Of course.
Okay, times 135, we're off the record. Okay, times 135, we're back on the record.
So, Mr. Valenti, I've given you document number V14. This is Bates numbers PT 038982 to PT 038986. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, it appears to be my 2011 tax return.
Okay. Did you prepare this?
Yes, I believe I did.
And were you operating as Nero Live Adventure Games LLC in 2011?
Yes, I was.
And could you read the line income on your 1040 line 7?
$143,110.
How did you make $143,110?
I worked.
At what?
I had a job,
What kind of job?
an IT job,
For whom?
a company called IBM.
IBM. When did you stop working for IBM?
Last year, I think, in July. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, last year. They changed their name to Kyndryl.
You stopped working for them last year?
Well, yeah. I worked for them as a long-term supplemental and a full-time, no, wait, as a contractor, long-term supplemental, and then they hired me full-time. I worked for them full-time for 2 months.
When was this?
Last year, 2 years ago. Wait, let me think. Yeah, they changed me around. Let's see. So I went from contractor to the long-term supplemental, and that was only lasted like 3 months. Oh no, then I went to long-term supplemental for Kyndryl, and then I went to full-time employee for Kyndryl.
And when did all this occur?
Oh, well, this most recently it was 2019, 20, 21, 22, yeah. So I stopped working for IBM, and I guess in 2011 in September, back then, as a contractor. Actually, it'll probably show up on my tax return as a company called Artec, I guess, Artec. What does it say here, anything? Artec? Not IBM, but oh, it doesn't have the name. Oh, okay, yeah. I was a contractor for IBM in 2011, working for a company called Artec, Information Services, maybe? If I remember. So it's Artec something or other.
Were you working for that company in 2012,
No. Nope.
2013,
Nope.
2014,
Nope.
2020?
Artec in 2020, yes.
Were you working for them in 2015?
Nope.
Who were you working for in 2015?
Oh, God, I don't know. I don't remember. I don't know. Some companies.
Were you working for them in 2016?
Artec? No.
IBM?
No.
2017?
No.
How did you make $157,575 in 2017?
Oh, I don't know.
You don't know how you made $157,000?
I have to think about it for a second. You're asking me for some 6 years ago, 7 years ago. 2017. Let me look. Let me think. So 17, $157. That's not a bad number. So who was I working for? Oh, I might have been working for Social Security Administration through Paragon Services, maybe. Yeah, maybe Social Security Administration in 2017, $157,000. Yeah, that sounds logical.
Were you getting paid on a W-2 basis by the administration?
Oh, I don't know. A W-2? No. Only Artec. I think Artec might have done W-2s, but most of the other ones are all, contracting companies that you get 1099s or you business to business, corp to corp, so to speak.
Did you get any kind of document from any of those companies that were paying you the money to work at?
Oh, I guess I did. Yeah, sure.
So back to document V14. Right there, that's the 2011 tax return. What number is there?
I'm sorry, where?
Line 12?
Minus $36,619.
Okay. On line 21?
Minus $32,147.
And that is also designated as a net operating loss again?
That's what it says, NOL.
Okay. So do you remember what year you were carrying over that loss from?
Well, this is a year 2011 tax return.
So what year were you carrying
I would
over the
imagine
loss
it came from 2010, 9, 8, 7, so somewhere around there. Depending on how the laws work. I believe the net operating loss carryover is allowed to be 5 years or an unlimited period of time. That changed a year or two ago. Or maybe 2016 or 17 it changed.
So you don't remember which year you were carrying over that loss from?
No.
Okay. So if we look at your Schedule C for that year, is it true that you made $20,455 on line 1B?
Let's see, Part 1B, total gross receipts, $20,455. Yes.
Okay. And on line 13 under expenses, what did you take a depreciation of $22,241 for?
Oh, I wouldn't know. That's from 2011, and we're currently in the year 2022. So I don't know what would have filled that line item out for.
That's a big depreciation number that you hadn't taken in any other year. So, I question whether or not you could remember by digging in your brain what $22,241 in depreciation was.
No, I don't really recall. I mean, the IRS was okay with it, so I'm glad you're okay with it too.
So, tentative profit or loss under line 29 shows a $36,619 loss, correct?
Correct.
So again, you deducted 36,619 loss from your Schedule C, and you had a carryover loss of 32,147. And that's correct, right?
Well, I mean, I think you should, so you're looking at the net operating loss that's on my personal tax return. And then you're looking at the business expenses from my business.
What net operating loss did you have in your personal business or personal account?
Well, I don't believe that the 1040 individual tax return, line item number 21, would refer to anything else other than my Nero or my other personal losses. So I just don't know exactly where it came from.
So, but Nero and you are the same.
That's correct.
Okay, so where did you get the 32,147 deduction from?
I don't know. That's from the year 2011, and you're asking me something from 10 years ago that's on a tax return line item.
Okay, so Mr. Valenti, how much of the 2014 net operating loss that you had shown on line 12 did you carry over
So
into?
now, so wait, so we're talking about 2014 now?
No, we're talking about 2011, line 12. In document number V14, how much did you carry over?
So if we're looking at the 1040 from 2011, and you're looking at the NOL under item
No, I'm
21.
looking at line 12.
Okay, line 12, business income or loss. It says here I have minus $36,619.
How much did you carry over into 2012?
Oh, let's go look at the 2012 paper.
Please.
Well, it says here that I have an NOL on 2012 as $48,993.
But Mr. Valenti, in 2011, you took the full amount of the loss on this tax return. So how could there be any left to carry over?
Well, are you an accountant?
Yes.
You are?
Yeah.
So then what number, how many years am I allowed to go prior?
Well, Mr. Valenti,
net operating loss
you took the entire deduction on 2011. How can you carry over something that you took the entire deduction for?
I believe that you're mistaken in the
How am I
statements that you're making.
mistaken?
So in 2011, I had a net operating loss of $32,147 that carried over from the year
Hold on, you have a net operating loss of 22,000.
sorry, $32,147. This is on my 2011 tax return. That NOL came from 2010 987,654.
Okay, so it
So-
did not come from 2011. In 2012,
You interrupted me and you've
Yes,
just...
I am. Did you, in 2012, have a carryover from 2011?
So it looks like my net operating loss for the year 2011 would be around $36,619. So I would take my 2012 tax return and say, what's my net operating loss in 2011? I'd say, my net operating was $36,000. What's my net operating loss from the years prior to that? Did I use up all my previous net operating losses from all the years previous where I had a net operating loss? And I would probably say, no, I didn't. I would add those numbers up, subtract the other number from the 2011 that I used, and I would have a leftover number which I could use in 2012.
We'll get
And
there,
that's
Mr. Valenti.
Probably the number
We'll
that
get
I
there.
put there. No,
We'll get there.
that's the answer, sir.
We'll get there.
That's exactly how the tax return works.
Okay.
Unless
gonna
I'm
give you-
mistaken,
I'm
but
going to
the
give you
IRS
docket
didn't-
number
didn't correct me.
V15. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, I do, sir.
What is it?
It's the 2010 tax return.
2000, did you fill this? Oh, and by the way, this is PT 038963 to PT 038966. So, Mr. Valenti, on what is the amount of wages and salaries identified on line 7?
$167,228.
Okay. And the number that is shown on line 21?
Minus $94,070.
Okay. And the line item shown on line 12?
Minus $8,073.
Okay. And then line 14, what were those other gains or losses of $15,309 from?
I do not remember or recall, since this is from the year 2010, and we're currently in the year 2022.
So, Mr. Valenti, you said that you had a net operating loss. I presume that's also a carryover on line 21 of $94,070.
That is what the document says, yes.
Okay. What year were you transferring that from?
Well, since this is the year 2010, I would imagine that the net operating loss that was presented here came from the year 2009, 8, 7, 6, 5, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay. So, did you use your, if we look at Schedule C on line 29 shows the number of minus $8,073, correct?
That is correct.
And at this point, you're operating under Nero International Holding Company, Inc., as the Schedule C, is that correct?
Yes.
So how is it that you are able to carry over a net operating loss under Nero International Holding Company, Inc. to another entity known as L.L.M?
Oh, I believe it is completely allowed, since I'm the ultimate tax return person filing the tax returns. Those are the same businesses being pushed back and forth to each other. I don't exactly know how to explain those words. I'm operating both of the businesses. One was the other one was the other. So they all go with each other.
So, Mr. Valenti, you filed this tax return from 2010 into the name of Nero International Holding Company, and you provided the employer ID number 223616056, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So, of the net operating loss that you had in 2010, how much did you purport to carry over to 2011?
Here it says that, oh wait, nope, that's not it. Yeah, so it says here that $8,073 would have been able to be carried over into the future.
But you applied it to this tax return, did you not?
The $8,000?
Yes.
No, the $8,000 did not get applied to 2010. It was the result of the 2010 return.
So if you're saying that the deduction that appears on line 12 was not indeed taken?
I think you're either confusing me or you're confusing yourself. So I think
Well, let's do the simple math, Mr. Valenti.
Excuse me, I need to take a break to go to the bathroom because I've been holding it in for quite some time.
I think we're going to not let you go right now. I want you to answer the questions. I've got this line of questioning going. So we're going to sit here and we're going to get this straight. So, and then you can go to the bathroom. We're breaking at 2 o'clock. Let the record show the witness is leaving the room.
Go off.
Yes, we're off the record. Sorry.
Time's 1:54, we're off the record.
We won't go back.
Okay, time is 3:01, we are back on the record.
Well, Mr. Singh, before we get going, I'd just like to clarify the proceedings for today, that I'm going to reserve an hour of my time in view of the fact that there's apparently documents that haven't been produced that were previously requested. So I'm continuing the deposition pending the receipt of those documents. Would you then let me know?
Well, to
when-
clarify, if he has those, and if we confirm there's bank records and things like that, he has stated that he doesn't have those. So if we don't have them, there's no reason. But he's going to double check, and we will produce it if he has it.
Okay, and I'm still going to then keep an hour of my time to continue the deposition at a later date.
Okay.
Okay, we left off on document identified or marked as V15. Just pausing for a second.
Oh, sorry.
Well said. Okay. I had identified this, I believe, as PTO 38963 to PTO 38966. And we'll go through the whole, I don't remember, since we don't have the same stenographer here for the afternoon session, I'll repeat my questions because I don't know where I left off. And we're looking at the profit and loss statement, which is on the document number PT 038966. And Mr. Valenti, did you prepare this document?
Yes.
And these numbers are correct?
Yes.
And is it true that you lost $8,073 from running the Nero International Holding Company, Inc. business in 2010?
Yes.
On page 1 of the 1040, you have listed under number 21, 94,070.
Yes.
From what year did you carry over this net operating loss?
I am unsure. It would be the previous years.
So, and do you understand that if you use the net operating loss from a previous year in the amount of 94,070 on this return, that you can't use it on other returns?
Yes, that's correct.
So how much was left of your net operating loss from previous years after you used the $94,070 on this return?
I don't believe it says it in this document.
Well, I didn't ask whether, I just asked whether you had any leftover NOL after you used the 94,000.
Well, I would imagine I did, since into the year 2011 I used more NOL.
Right, and so do you
So that means
remember
I
which
had-
year you carried that over from?
No, I don't recall. It's from 10 years ago, 10 plus years ago.
In what year did you submit this 2010 tax return?
There is no date on the return.
Do you remember when you submitted it?
I don't recall.
In the year 2010 and in the year 2011, you reported on line 7 wages. In 20, you've already put into testimony that the amount you put into on line 7 in 2011 was $143,110, and on this one, $167,228 on line 7. This one being the 2010 return. You switched, however, in 2012 to stop putting any monies on line 7. What motivated you to stop putting monies earned on line 7 in 2012?
Trying to fill out the tax return paperwork correctly?
That's your testimony?
Well, yeah, I mean, unless I'm confused by your question.
I don't know. Are you?
Well, I think I answered it. So
Okay.
if
You
you didn't
answered
get
it.
if you didn't get the type of answer, I'd be more than happy
No, I
to
want
try
the
to
truth,
clarify
Mr.
for
Valenti.
you.
That's all. Just the truth.
Yeah, so I didn't put the number into 2012 because there was probably no number to put in there.
We'll move to document number V16. For the sake of the stenographer, we're using the abbreviation V from Mr. Valenti. So we've identified it as V16. Do you recognize this document, Mr. Valenti?
Yes, it appears to be my 2009 tax return.
Is that, by the way, the document has the Bates numbers PT 038939 to PT 038941. Mr. Valenti, this document on the page PT 03885 has a signature. Is that your signature? It's the second page of the 1040.
Yes.
That's your signature. It also shows a date of 10/13/2011. Is that correct?
That is the date that is listed on the piece of paper.
Is that the date where you actually filed this?
I don't recall. It
Okay.
could be.
So why did you sign this document on October 13th, 2011?
Probably because it's a requirement on a document that you file with the IRS.
Okay. When would you, under the IRS rules, be required to file a tax return?
I'm sorry, repeat the question?
Under the IRS rules, when are you required to file a tax return by? What's the deadline for filing a tax return?
There is no deadline that I know of.
Have you ever heard of April 15th?
Sure, that's a time when you're supposed to file your tax return in order to not get into trouble. But it's not a mandatory requirement date for you to submit your tax return. For the IRS doesn't do anything to you, like tell you you can't submit a tax return if you do it on April 16th. So therefore, there's no actual mandatory date required to file your tax return. The IRS says do it when you can.
Do you know what happens when you file a late tax return?
No.
So why didn't you file a tax return by the 15th of April 15th, 2010?
I'm sorry, I thought we were on document that was 2009, that was on 10/13/2011. I'm sorry, what was your question again?
Why didn't you file the tax return for 2009 in 2010 by April 15th?
I don't recall the answer to that question. I was too busy trying to stay alive and make money so I could eat, I guess.
So, Mr. Valenti, what does it show for wages on line 7 here in this tax return?
My 2009 1040 individual tax return shows nothing in line 7.
Okay. So, in line 22, okay, so you just took, so on your profit and loss statement, it shows that in line 1, for income, that you had 46,352. Was that your total income from all activities in that year?
I don't think there's any other line items that show another number for income, and if that's correct, that there is no other line item on my tax return that shows a number for income, I would say that that one number that you're asking about is the number that shows you how much money I made in that year.
How did you make this money?
I generated revenue from my Nero business, and odds are I generated revenue from one or two other places, such as a roofing company. And I'm unsure of if I did anything else in that year to generate any money.
How much money of this 46,352 was attributable to the roofing company?
I don't recall. I would have to look at the 1099 that I gave you for that year in PayPal if I have it, and then I would deduct that number from PayPal from this number here, and I would come up with a number.
And how much of this 46,352 is attributable to income earned through Nero International Holding Company, Inc.?
I would have to figure that out, all of it. I mean, it's listed on...
All of it?
It's listed on the account.
So, but you just said you had, in the year had a roofing business.
Yeah.
So was Nero International Holding Company, Inc. running a roofing business?
Yes.
Can you provide any proof of that?
No.
So you
That's
were running a
from
roofing
2009.
business and
I was generating income personally as Joseph Valenti, and then I took my income and probably got it as a filing from the company for business to business. So I had to have a company, and I gave my company information out, and that's what I used.
so you would take the money that you earned from your roofing business and you would run it through the Nero International Holding Company, Inc. account?
Well, I guess if you want to use the words "run it through," I suppose that's.
How would you otherwise describe it? Did you pay the money into that account?
Oh, I don't recall.
You don't recall.
I'm trying to answer the questions the best I can, but it's from 2009. So I had an income. I combined it all. I put it on my tax return. The income was from the roofing company and from Nero.
So what were your expenses for the roofing company?
Whatever is listed on my tax return.
So the $22,000, I'm sorry, on line 22 of the profit and loss statement, the $26,266 was spent on supplies?
Supplies not included in Part 3, line item number 22, says $26,266. So I would say yes. That would be supplies that weren't included in Part 3.
Was the roofing business ever involved in any kind of litigation or problem,
Sure.
legal problem?
Yes.
What were the problems?
The guy didn't want to pay me, so I sued him.
And so how much did you make from that?
From the lawsuit?
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. I think he ended up paying me $2,500 or $2,500, I think. And then, of course, so that's a good story. So I went away to a Nero event one weekend, and when I came back, this guy, Cully Cangelosi, decided that he had already contacted all of the clients that I was managing and told them that I no longer worked for him. So I called them all up, and I went and visited them over the course of the next week, and I told them that the Cully Cangelosi had informed me that he didn't want to pay me the $9,000 that he owed me for doing all of the work that I had done in order to generate revenue for Cully Cangelosi's roofing business. They, or many of them, decided that they didn't want to work with a guy named Cully Cangelosi, whom they did not know other than that one phone call, so they all chose, or many of them chose to go with me, and I finished the job by putting roofs on those people's houses. And then I took the money and I put it into my bank account, or whatever account I had at the time. And then there were expenses to roofing houses, and odds are the $22,600 was expenses for Nero and for the roofing company.
So in 2009, did you own a house?
In 2009, yes.
Did the house have a mortgage?
I'll say yes.
How much was the mortgage?
$27,000, I think.
$27,000?
Yeah, $27,000.
So, Mr. Valenti, you reported income of $46,000, and then you said you spent $26,000 on supplies, and then you spent $27,000 on your mortgage. What did you live from?
What are you talking about?
I just asked you what
You're
you paid
ask,
for your
I don't
mortgage.
understand your question. You're getting into something. I don't understand it.
I want to know.
You're trying to say that my mortgage was $27,000 and that I spent $27,000 in the year 2009, which is completely false. You're putting false words into my mouth with the statements that you're making.
I asked you how much you paid on your mortgage, and you said $27,000.
No, you said, did I have a mortgage on my house? I said yes. You said how much? I said $27,000. You didn't say anything about how much did I pay in 2009 for my house.
Okay, then let's address that then.
Okay,
How
yes.
much did you pay on a monthly basis for your mortgage?
$455.
$455. How much did you pay for your utilities?
Well, this says I spent $104 on my business for utilities, but I would say that it was a lot larger than that to run my utilities at the house in Barnesville, Georgia.
Okay, so it was more than what you reported here.
Well, this is what I reported for the business. You asked me what my house expenses for the utilities were, not my business expenses for utilities that I reported on my IRS tax return. Those are two different numbers.
Okay, and then on line 24A, you reported travel, meals, and entertainment. Is that? Yeah, that's correct. What kind of travel were you doing?
I own a business called Nero, which I've been running since 1998, July 24. And I travel all over the country every year. And I have meals, business expenses, food, wine, drink, whatever you want to call that stuff, with individuals who I meet in the various locations when I travel. Also, if I had to guess, I would say since this is 2009, I was in Georgia running a roofing company, so I probably deducted a few dollars, not a lot though, for meals or whatever I had to in order to win the deal over, so to speak, with the homeowner.
So, Mr. Valenti, what are your living expenses like on a month-to-month basis?
Right now?
Yes.
Oh, my living expenses? They're pretty low.
Like how much?
Well, I have a $500 mortgage on my truck. I had solar panels on my house, so I didn't have any electrical bills, which is why any electric that I would generate would be for my business, because my solar panels, 28 250-watt solar panels and 8 100-watt solar panels would give me a $59 electric bill or whatever the heck it was. So then I don't think I have too many more expenses other than that. I have a bunch of website expenses for Nero. I have
No, personal expenses, Mr. Valenti.
my personal living expenses are very, very small, very low.
So how much do you spend like on groceries?
Oh, groceries? Well, when I go shopping for groceries as opposed to going out to eat, I probably spend a few $100s a month on groceries. 4, 5, 6, 7, I don't know.
So by my calculations here, you were living in 2009 basically on about $10,000?
Yeah, you got that right. Yeah.
So that's all you had to live on?
I'm good, aren't I?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'll explain it to you. You want me to explain it to you a little bit better?
No.
You sure? I'm
Oh,
going to explain it anyway.
I'm very sure, Mr. Valenti.
Is he? Okay, I won't explain it to you then.
No. So then in 2009, you didn't have any loss carryovers, correct?
That is correct.
Do we have V21? I don't think we got. I don't think we got that far in entry.
Julie said I was starting with 22.
22. Okay. So here is then documents number V21. And I'll direct your attention to the first page there. These documents were produced by plaintiffs with the designation PT 037745, PT 37744. Do you need me to read each one into the record, Norma? No? No?
No.
No, okay.
Sorry, can we just, what exhibit was this? Exhibit number?
21.
20, okay.
And I'll direct your attention to the first statement here, profit and loss.
Sure.
This is a profit and loss statement. When was it created? Oh, first of all, do you recognize this document?
Yes. Looks like it was created on January 6th, 2011.
Okay. Is this document accurate?
It is for the software program that it was utilizing and the information that it was getting it from. Yes.
Okay. Isn't it true that on this document you have a net income loss of $525.33?
That's what the paper says, yes.
So, but on your 1040 for the 2009 in line 12, it shows an income loss of $5,032.
Yes.
Which document is correct?
The tax return document.
So why is this profit and loss statement inaccurate?
So, in the year 2009, I lost everything. We'll just use that terminology. So I moved from New York State down to Georgia, and the business-to-business operation that was managing the revenue, my bank account, and this paper, handed me my business back in March or April of that year in 2009. They tracked this number, and for the rest of the year, we came out with the number that's on the IRS tax return.
So you didn't produce document 2009 V21. Did you produce this document?
Yes, I produced that document.
I thought you said the bank produced it. They gave it to you.
No, you're putting words in my mouth again. I said the company that was managing my income and basically my bank account created this document and gave it to me. And it was in March or April of 2009. That's why the numbers are reflected like this for the year, because they ended the tracking in April of 2009.
So
and my tax return document.
You didn't create this document then?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, yeah, I don't know. I think I actually did create it. I was given the database, and I went into the database, and I printed off the profit and loss statement.
Which database did you go into?
The accounting database that I was given in 2009 by the company that was managing my bank account.
Which company was that was managing your bank account?
I don't recall the name.
So which bank account were they managing?
I think in 2009 it would be maybe a Chase bank account.
No. Which account were they managing? Your personal account or?
No, it was the Nero account.
Nero account. So this is what you're saying is V21 2009 report is only a partial year report?
I believe that is correct, yes.
Why was it printed on January 6, 2011?
Well, if I had to guess, going with my tax returns being filed in 2011, I probably pulled up the file while I was in Dubuque, Iowa, and printed it so that I could do my tax returns.
So after 2009, did you continue to use the software?
And no, I never used the software personally, except for to print those documents off.
So you did use the software?
Only to, I don't even know if I used the software. I believe I downloaded another piece of software that was able to read the database of the software that was sent to me by the company, and that's how I opened up the file and printed it.
So of your loss in 2009, how much of that loss did you take in 2009? You said your business generated a loss.
In my 2009 tax return, it tells me that I have a negative $8,000 income.
Right.
Is that
Did
what-
you
is that-
carry this $8,000 over to a later year?
I would imagine that I did, but I can't recall whether or not I did or not, because that's from 2008, and it's 2022, and we're talking about tax returns. And I'll recall it as best I can, but I'm not remembering things from 13 years ago that well.
Okay, we'll move on to Exhibit V17. This document is designated PT 038917. To PT 038920. Mr. Valenti, do you recognize this document?
Yes, it looks like my 2008 tax return.
2008 tax return. When did you prepare this 2008 tax return?
I don't know. I don't remember. I would say maybe 2010 or 11, depending on how if I was looking at the other documents.
Those in track for me. Just mix them up, I think. Just the P&Ls would use the track for me. So, did you complete this tax return?
Yes, I think I did.
So, are the numbers accurate? Are there any mistakes with this?
Yeah, I think the numbers are accurate.
Okay.
It's from 15 years ago, so.
So pay on the first page of the 1040, it shows on line 7 an income of $342.
Yes.
Where did that $342 come from?
I don't recall it. You're talking about 2008, right?
So line 12, Mr. Valenti, is the number of 96,377, negative 96,370, accurate?
It would appear to be accurate, yes.
Okay, could you explain to me why you lost $96,000 that year?
I don't know. That's 14 years ago.
Mr. Valenti, if you look at your profit and loss from the business, on line 31, it shows that you lost $45,350.
Yes.
So why did you put down 96,377 when you reported on your Schedule C that you lost 45,350?
I'd have to go back and think harder on it personally, but I'm imagining that I must have another business income schedule, maybe from my delicatessen, that I lost $96,000 on, but I'm not sure.
So you were running a delicatessen?
Not in the year 2008, or maybe in the year 2008.
How were you running the delicatessen? Was it a separate entity?
I believe it was, yes.
So you weren't running the delicatessen under Nero International Holding Company, Inc.?
No, I didn't.
What kind of entity was running then the delicatessen?
Probably Joe's Deli or something like that.
Was it incorporated?
I think so, yes.
How was it incorporated?
New York State.
No. Okay. It was incorporated in New York State. What was the name of the company in New York?
Joe's Deli,
Joe's Deli. And where was this deli located?
Poughkeepsie, New York.
So you ran two businesses and you combined, is that your testimony, that you combined the two on this line 12?
You know what? I don't recall. This is from 2008, and I don't remember anything that's going back to 2008. So I'm not going to speculate because that would probably be wrong.
You can't remember anything from 2008?
No. Other than what I've already told you, pretty much that's it.
So where would we find the amount of money that you earned through Joe's Deli?
Probably one of my tax returns.
Which tax return?
I don't recall. I'd have to look at all my tax returns to see which ones had the Joe's Deli in them.
Well, did you file a separate tax return for Joe's Deli?
I don't know. I'd have to go back and look. It's 2008. I don't remember.
So, but
For all I know, I've got the years wrong, and Joe's Deli wasn't operating in 2008. It was operating in 2007.
so if it wasn't operating in 2008, then this number of 96,377 would be incorrect. correct?
No, actually, you're wrong. The number on the tax return is correct. For whatever it actually represents, it is correct, because the tax return was accepted by the IRS. So therefore, the numbers on the tax return are correct and valid.
And you lost 96,377 from operating two businesses. That's correct?
That's correct, yes. That's what my tax
What
return
did you live
says.
on?
Money.
From where?
I don't recall. It's 2007,
Yeah.
2008.
But you
I make
must have
money.
been wiped out. You must have $96,000
That's your opinion,
loss.
man. That's your opinion.
Oh, Mr.
You're-
Valenti,
you got a good opinion.
$96,000 out of pocket. $96,000 is what you reported as losing that year.
That's correct.
That means you paid $96,000 out of pocket.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Valenti, what did you earn? What was your income?
Well, on that year, I made $342 in wages, and I made $36,744 from Nero.
I'm sorry, could you give me the Nero number again?
It was $36,744.
And of that $36,744, you had expenses of $80,210 reflected on line 28.
Yes,
So again, I submit to you, what did you live on?
money
From where?
from all of my jobs,
Why wasn't that money reported on this tax return?
because I don't have to make the money in the same year that I spend it.
What year did you make the money?
I'm 54 years old right now, so I've been making money since I was 16 years old.
So how much was in your bank account at the start of 2008?
I don't remember.
So you had enough in your bank account, though, to support a loss of $94,745.
I either had enough in my bank account to support that loss, like you're saying, yes, or I borrowed money from people who wanted to lend me money.
Who'd you borrow money from?
My mom, my dad, my uncle.
So your testimony here today is that you borrowed money in the tune of 94, well, minus the 37, so it was roughly, what is that?
No, you're putting
16?
words in my mouth, incorrectly stating things that you think I said.
Okay, then what did you say?
You can have her read it back if you'd like.
No, I'd like to find out, where did you get the extra money
Please read
from?
back what I stated before. Oh, I don't recall. I'm trying to answer these questions as best I can, but if you're going to say that I borrowed money so that I could get a $96,000 loss, that's wrong. I tried to explain to you that I earn $100K a year. I borrow money if I need it. I mean, that everybody in the world
Well,
does
Mr.
that.
Hass, I'm not asking.
Everybody in the world does the same thing.
Mr. Valenti, I'm not asking you what you're earning now. I'm asking what you earned in 2008 and where you earned it and how you earned it.
Right, so I've had corporate jobs since I was 16 or 17 or 19 years old, and I earn money. And if I run out of money, I go and borrow it, just like everybody else in the world. I think I'm trying to answer the question as best as I can for you.
So how much money did you bring home in your personal bank account or the personal account in 2008?
Well, according to this document, I made $342
And that's
in revenue.
what you lived on all year?
No, that's not what I lived on all
What
year.
did you live on?
I lived on some other number, which was what it cost for me to live during that year.
Yes, and I'm trying to figure out where you got that money from.
I earned it
From where?
working for a living
From where?
corporate jobs.
Well, you just testified earlier that you had Nero International Holding Company and Joe's Deli. So you were
You're talking
working-
about 1 year again. I think I've answered your questions.
No, you haven't.
Okay, so
Because
ask him
in
again.
2008, you said you were running a deli, and you were running Nero International Holding Company, and you managed to run up a $96,000 loss, and you only reported $342, and I've asked you repeatedly what you live from, and then you said you had a corporate job.
I know, I answered you, I lived off of money that I had, or if I ran out of money, I would borrow it from my mom, my dad, my brother, whoever. And that's what my answer was. And then you asked me some other questions.
Yes.
So you can repeat those if you'd like me to try to answer them for you, because I'm more than willing to answer them.
I think you've
for
already
you.
tried to answer.
Okay.
So, in 2008, you made $342. In 2009, you earned nothing. In 2010, you had $167,000, and then $143,000. In 2012, you went back to making nothing. In 2013, you went back to making nothing. And then you were back up in 2015 to $100 and something thousand.
I think
So-
every statement that you made is incorrect, but I'll go through it for you. In the year 2008, I made $36,744 plus $342. In the year 2009, I made $46,352. In the year 2010, I made $167,000 plus $18,335. In the year 2011, I made $143,110 and $20,455. In the year 2012, I made $131,175. In the year 2013, I made $29,254. In the year 2014, I made $51,800. In the year 2015, I made $111,000 plus $106,000 miscellaneous. In the year 2016, I made $17,175 and $132,250. In the year 2017, I made $157,000 and looks like more, and $157,000 total. I'm missing the document, which shows how much money I made from PayPal from my Nero business. So
Mr.
all of
Valenti,
those years, I operated a business called Nero, never stopped operating it, and I generated thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars personally and also for the Nero business.
how
over
much of
those
that
years.
money then for each of those years did Nero International Holding Company or Nero NLAG, spelled NLAG, make?
Well, I don't have a complete figure on it right now, but I know that if you look at the PayPal documents, where PayPal gives me a 1099 form on the amount of money that was generated, in the last 5 years alone, I made more than $250,000.
Well, Mr. Valenti, you
Last
just said that
5
there was
years
one
old.
account, PayPal account, and that you made it quite clear with your prior your just recent testimony that in each year you made the money. You made the money. I'm asking you how much of those monies that are reflected on those Schedule Cs the companies made.
In the year 2008, Nero made $36,744.
Okay, stop there, please. If Nero made that money, you just testified previously that you made that money. So who made the money?
I and Nero, we're the same entity. I operate Nero. I made the money. This on my tax return says that Nero is declaring to the IRS that it made $36,000. So therefore, Nero made $36,000 according to the IRS. In the year 2009, I made nothing according to this document because line 7 is empty. So since we're using...
So we're moving on
We're using
to
specific terminology.
V18.
Thank you
Here's
very much.
V18.
Thank you.
V18 has got the Bates numbers PT 038908 to PT 0389 yes. Actually, I'll go back to V17 just for a second. So you've reported on 2008 line 7 gross income of 36,744. Can we look then at document number V21, page 2? That is document PT 037744. Did you prepare this document?
I'm sorry, which document are you looking at now?
PT 037744 of document V12. V21.
Yes.
You prepared this.
Yes.
It says a net income here of minus 38,000.
Yes.
Why didn't you report the minus 38,000 on your tax return?
Because the number wasn't accurate when I went over everything.
When did you go over everything?
When I did the tax returns.
And when was that?
I don't recall.
So I also note that this document states that it was created, if that's the right word, on 1/6/2011. Is that accurate?
That's accurate.
Why did you create this document on 1/6/2011?
I don't recall.
So which number is to be believed?
The one on my tax return.
The one on your tax return, okay. So we'll go then to V18 now. So, do you recognize this document?
Yes.
2007. So, are the numbers on this document correct?
I'll say I don't know. I don't know what these numbers in this document actually represent. It wasn't created by me. It was created by another company, and I used the numbers on it in order to maybe create my tax return. Other than that, it's just a file that I found on my computer that I provided to you guys during the lawsuits.
Okay, so if we could look at...
So I would think the numbers are fairly accurate in most of the occasions, but I do remember that there were a lot of information that we presented to this company that was accounts payable, accounts receivable, stuff that didn't get paid, stuff that didn't get collected. So odds are it's probably pretty accurate.
Okay, so did you... Was your testimony that you completed this?
Well, I printed it off. I did not input the data into the computer program that created this report. I only could, again, pull up a program that can read a database file and then print off a profit and loss statement for me.
Okay, so this profit and loss statement, you don't know whether the number of negative 25,879.56 cents is correct.
I have to say I think it probably is correct. I'm saying that I didn't actually generate this document. It was generated by somebody else. I printed it off, or whatever you want to call it. And the numbers on it look pretty good. The year 2007 didn't have a lot of revenue, as you can see, $26,000 or $28,000 in there. So odds are most of those numbers, if not, are 100% accurate.
Okay.
I just did not create it, so.
Going to document number V18. Again, I point out, well, first of all, do you recognize document number V18?
Yes.
Did you create this document?
Yes.
Are the numbers accurate?
I think so, yes. Yes.
Did you file this document with the IRS?
Yes.
Okay. So again, on line 7, that's blank, correct? You had no income in
Yes.
2007?
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I got the wrong document in front of me. V18 is what PT numbers? I just went to
3908, 2007.
Sorry about that. Excuse me. 2008. Okay, good. Sorry. Yes, that's empty. That's correct.
So, and on line 12, the number of negative 2,503 is correct?
Yes.
And if we turn to the Schedule C filed in 2007, these numbers are all accurate?
Yes.
And that you had a loss of this business of $2,503?
Yes.
So, Mr. Valenti, if you spent all the money that you earned, how did you live? What money did you have to live on?
I had money. I'm not dead, so therefore I lived.
Yes, how?
I've spent money to buy food.
How did you do that?
I paid my rent with money.
How?
I earned it.
Where?
In a job that I worked.
Were you working that job in 2007?
2007. According to my IRS tax records, I did not have a company which paid me wages, salaries, or tips.
So how did you earn your living in 2007?
I don't recall.
In 2007, why did you pay $14,957 for attorneys or legal and professional services?
A gentleman named Michael Ventrella tried to sue me for my business and failed ultimately, and I had to pay legal fees.
We're going to document number, did I get that? We are on B19. I think we are. Hold on a second. I'm going to B19. Did I give you document? Oh, you don't have the documents with you? Screw it up here. All right, I've obviously misplaced some documents, so can we go off the record while I make some copies quickly?
Time is 3:50, we're off the record.
Will you do that